Springfield Daily Republic, December 5, 1887. The Mound Builders of Ohio. Professor Putnam's address on ancient Americans. Professor F.W. Putnam, curator of the Peabody Museum at Cambridge, Massachusetts, and one of America's most distinguished archaeologists, recently lectured before the Western Reserve Historical Society on the mounds and mound builders of Ohio. Professor Putnam spent 2 months exploring the Serpent Mound in Adams County. He remarked, "There were 4 great ancient races on this continent, or if one race, they showed greater diversity than any other on Earth. For instance, in one mound in Ohio, we found 1,500 skeletons of various sizes, differing significantly in their characteristics." He explained that the 4 great races can be resolved into 2 groups, the long-headed people and the short, broad-headed people. Evidence suggests that the long-headed people came from northern Asia, crossed the Bering Strait, continued south to California, then traveled to the Great Lakes, down the St. Lawrence River, along the Atlantic coast as far as North Carolina, eventually spreading into Ohio and Pennsylvania. These people resembled those of northern Asia in face and form. The short-headed people had characteristics similar to those of southern Asia and resembled the Malay race. The earliest traces are found in Peru and Central America. From there, they moved north into Mexico, New Mexico, and Arizona, following rivers that flow into the Gulf of Mexico, notably the Mississippi. They eventually mingled with the long-headed people in Tennessee and Ohio and were ultimately absorbed by them. He detailed the use of mounds for burial, noting the various ways bodies were prepared for interment, sometimes cremated, sometimes laid directly in the ground, sometimes placed in rough stone tombs or wooden log structures. Besides burial mounds, there are other mounds used for great religious ceremonies. Professor Putnam described his explorations in the Little Miami Valley and praised Colin Whittlesey's work on ancient Lake Superior mining and the mounds in that valley. The sacred mounds there were used for sacrifices and religious ceremonies, not human sacrifices, but offerings to fire. In one mound, terracotta figures were found, beautifully carved representations of people in restful attitudes. Numerous stone images, copper pendants, thousands of copper beads, earrings covered with native silver, and over 60,000 pearls were discovered, as if all the tribes had contributed their pearls to this altar. Several altars were sometimes found in a single mound, demonstrating that many large mounds had purposes beyond burial. Turning to the Serpent Mound in Adams County, Professor Putnam said the serpent was worshipped by the ancient Mexicans and Peruvians, and apparently held significance among Ohio's ancient people. The mound in Adams County is constructed primarily of earth. 60 acres around the serpent have been purchased for the Peabody Museum by Boston philanthropists and are now managed by Professor Putnam, who has uncovered skeletons in the surrounding mounds from people of different eras, suggesting that some burials occurred without knowledge of earlier ones. Professor Putnam hopes further excavations will yield valuable insights into the mound builders of Ohio. Cleveland Herald, The Evening Bulletin. September 29, 1888. In the Great Serpent Mound near Hillsborough, 5 skeletons were found lying in the form of a star, each one enclosed in a stone box. The Bluffin News, May 22, 1958. True Tales About Ohio by Harry L. Hale. Of the people who built the mounds, little has been learned. From measurements of the skulls uncovered in various old burial grounds, there were 2 different races of mound builders, the long-headed ones and the round-headed ones with shorter skulls. Nearly all skulls found in southern Ohio were of the long-headed kind, high and short. The others lived along the Great Lakes. Their skulls were low and flat. The center of mound builders' population has been fixed as somewhere in Ross County,